Hi, I'm Phil Gordon.
And I'm Jimmy Collins.
You're listening to Busy Works.
Alright, so... fucking chair. Alright. Hello and welcome to the Busy Works Streetwear Podcast, your home for news, shenanigans, and discussion. It's your host, Angry Black. Today I have with me Phil and Jimmy from Belief, New York City. What's up, guys?
Yo.
What's going on? So yeah, let's just get straight into things. You want to tell us a bit about yourself and like your roles within the shop, like where you guys from, that kind of shit?
Yeah. I'll start. So we grew up together in Westchester, New York.
Okay.
And we kind of met when we were young in middle school. We both like skateboarded. And we became friends, and then like fast forward, we went away to college. Now when we came back, we linked up. Like none of us really, like we were kind of looking for jobs. And we linked up and just decided to do this skate shop in Astoria. So we moved there, opened it up. I was already living there. Phil and his brother Rafi, who's his twin brother, is our other partner.
Okay. So it's three of you guys in total.
Yeah. Moved to Astoria where I was already living. We opened up the shop, and then like we had the kind of like future intentions to turn it into a brand. So
yeah. Did you guys all go to the same college, or like how did that work out?
No, we didn't actually. We all moved back to New York. I went to college in Vermont, and they went to college in Rhode Island.
Oh, Vermont, that's deep as hell, man.
Yeah.
What see you smiling over there like, yeah, that was a terrible decision.
Nah, I was there for a year or two, and then I actually went to college in Queens, and that's how I ended up in Astoria.
Oh, so you were just there, and you just was like, all right, I'm chilling here, not going back. So
yeah, I transferred and everything. So like when afterwards they moved back to New York, and that's how we started hanging, throwing ideas around and whatever.
What about you, Phil? Where did you go to college?
I went to school in Rhode Island. I went to Roger Williams. So I was out in Rhode Island.
Out and about already.
Yeah.
So you said that. Well, when I was doing like the preliminary research, I guess you and Rafi had tried to open a skate shop before, when in the process of doing that. So like, what kind of happened to that venture? Like, what made you like decide to like shut that down and then move on to?
Well, the three of us, me, Jimmy, and Rafi, we were all planning on opening up another store for our friend who already had a couple stores called Second Nature.
Okay. And
we kind of just wanted to be in the city and would have been happy just working at his place, opening up our own little store for him. And, you know, a little bit into the process, he kind of backed out.
Word up. So, did you guys, like, grow up skating, like, in New York City, like, or was that you just kind of stayed in Westchester when you guys were growing up?
Oh, definitely both. Like, we were, like, down in the city a lot, and, like, all over Westchester when we were younger.
So what were, like, your favorite skate spots when you came down to the city?
Well, I mean, South Street Seaport, wooden benches back in the day.
Yeah. Pace, the pyramid ledges, all those
pyramid
old spots
ledges.
They're all cut up now.
The best spot, Banks. The best spot was SUNY Purchase, though. Out in Westchester.
That was like in Westchester.
Okay.
Yeah, that's out in Westchester, but like the college SUNY Purchase. That was the spot. That was where all the kids from the city would come up to Westchester to skate.
Just to skate SUNY Purchase. Well, why was that exactly?
It was just a college campus, huge, like open. It had tons of different marble ledges. It's in like the old Zoo York videos, like Peep Dis and a bunch of the other Zoo York stuff. But yeah, SUNY Purchase.
It was like a campus built for skating.
Yeah, and they used to let you skate all day long.
Yeah.
Oh, like the cops didn't fuck with you at all?
No, they never did back in the day.
Yeah, that's like super uncommon because now like everybody's like mad strict. Like even some like I guess the legendary quote unquote spots are just like mad, just overrun with like security and like skate stoppers.
Yeah, man, it's like they're popping up with all these skate parks now, like the LES Park, the Astoria Park. And it's almost like people are more geared to kind of like stay in the parks. I don't know. Yeah,
so like street skating isn't like that big of a
Street skating will always be some shit, but it's I feel like it's definitely more of a mission now.
The city is definitely. I mean, it's good that the city's kind of taken to it and made the investment to put like kids into these parks and keep them off the street. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as rugged. Like I've definitely noticed like it kind of like. Not being soft, but like it's not as like crazy as it was like in the 90s, early 2000s, like that type of shit.
Yeah, like I feel like it's just more of a mission now on some street shit. Like maybe back in the day, people in the like 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s, people would like go skate street and that'd be normal. Like they'd go meet up and just kick it, and almost now it's more of a mission to be in the street. I mean, you know, everything's different.
Smaller. Like skateboarding was a lot smaller back then, like in the 90s. Like there wasn't nearly as many people.
And then it kind of hit like a early like resurgence, like around like the X Games, I guess. And that's when like a lot of people are into it. Tony Hawk, like pro skater games, all that stuff. It's kind of like brought into the limelight. And it's crazy how that like, kind of affected like the clothing aspect of things too. Like I feel like sneaker wise in general, like that, like nobody was like trying to be cool because they were a skater, but like after like all that kind of stuff happened, then it like made it cool and okay to like skate. Like, was that like a thing you guys saw, like a trend?
Yeah, I think so.
That came about from like the Tony Hawk video games
like
and stuff?
The Tony Hawk video games, the X Games, like that whole like resurgence.
Like there was a lot of like, you know, even like when we were younger and before that, like there was like definitely like a stereotype that sort of faded out over time, like became a lot more like accepted.
Yeah.
And like, but that's kind of like the untrained person, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
like the outsider looking in, you know?
Right.
Slowly but surely, people in hip hop started talking about skateboarding, started wearing skateboard brands.
Yeah.
I think it was only a matter of time before people realized that like skateboarding really was at the forefront of a lot of like creativity.
Just in terms of like clothes or like art and stuff.
Apparel, yeah, mainly. But just the culture in general. I mean, it all intermingles, and you know, now it's obviously very prevalent. But
like,
before, it was kind of more underground for sure.
Right.
People are really trying to capitalize now.
It's a thing where I guess like people are just kind of not leaving any stone unturned. Like I feel like people see it as more of a way to just make bread than like doing it for like the love of skateboarding. Or, like I grew up skating, so now I'm gonna do like this sort of thing, you know.
I mean, it's different. Skateboarding is a sport, is an activity, and apparel is like, you know, those are kind of two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not.
So you wouldn't say it's like too closely associated these days?
Well, they are very, very closely associated, but like in terms of why people get into it, or like how you were mentioning before that some people just jump in trying to make some money off of it, and I don't know. I mean, you could be into apparel and not into skateboarding, you know what I mean? Or so, or vice versa.
That's the thing for a lot of people too, especially with like I don't know, like a diamond or something like that, where people are like they just like the clothes and then it's just accessible to them, so they just rep it for that rather than like the lifestyle behind it.
Yeah, and I think that the brand itself has a lot to do with like devaluing like themselves. You know, it's like you said, say a Wiz Khalifa or somebody was wearing diamond back in the day, and all of a sudden a lot of people said, yo, I want to wear diamond, or I want that hat. And then the brand, like, it's accessible for many reasons, but like I think brands should do a better job at staying, you know, away from such mainstream leaps and things. Really try to keep it more independent. I mean, and it's just better for the long term.
Is that something that you guys have held true with, like your independent clothing line? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Like we're gonna stay away from selling to Zoomies, selling to Urban Outfitters,
wholesaling,
doing collaborations with everybody and their mother. Like we're just gonna stay in our own lane and continue to like do, you know, what we do.
Word. So speaking of like collaborations, like I was looking and didn't, at least from what I was seeing, that you guys haven't really done any collaboration in the way of like apparel or shoes or anything like that. Is there any like particular reason for that, or?
We've just been holding out. You know, it always comes up, and we've had people reach out to us, but we want to like really do it right when we decide to do it. Yeah. It's not something that we personally wanted to jump into. Like we wanted to get our brand to a point by itself that it was ready for us to kind of look into it and find the right match, and when the right opportunity comes along, we'll kind of visit it, obviously. But
would you be looking for any prospective brands looking at this later on? Just like a general, not like anything specific, but like general in terms of like.
It's more. I think like I can kind of speak for both of us when I say it's more about the product to us than the brand. like I think we'd kind of look into like making a product that we don't normally make and kind of linking up with like a brand in that sense.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
Yeah, but absolutely the brand would have to have a similar aesthetic to us, you know, like they'd have to not be a brand that are doing things mainstream, a brand that's like really, you know, in their own lane and just making noise on their own. And I mean, you know, that's people that we respect.
So you wouldn't do like a lifestyle thing, so it has to be something kind of entrenched in like skate culture, or could it just be something like
it's just a brand, people that we like, people that inspire us, that we really like respect.
Yeah.
It's all in that realm. Like, we'd be happy to work with people if they're people that we look up to, you know?
Yeah.
And besides that, like, we have a store, so we have a little bit of an advantage. Like, a lot of the like sneaker companies we carry have done collaborations with like their stores in the past. So I think
like
that'd be something.
Nike SB or something.
That'd be
like
something that we'd obviously love to look into in the future.
Yeah. So getting back into like the roots kind of thing, I know like Astoria was convenient for you guys because like Jimmy was living there already. The Astoria skate park had just opened and everything. So if it wasn't like Astoria and like Queens, what borough would you have chosen for like the skate shop? Or was it really just like a pure coincidence type thing?
It was like a couple things that played into it. Like, it started out, I was living there, and just the fact that there was really no one else. There was no like other skate, like there was already a couple skate shops in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens just didn't have anything that going on there. And like right around that time, there was like a skate park being built, the Maloof Park in Flushing, and like there was like competitions. It was getting big. Like the industry was kind of coming out there a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like we actually didn't even know about the Astoria Park when we were starting like the early stages.
Oh, so you guys just kind of like came up on that? Like,
yeah, like we had heard rumors, like there had been rumored for a while that maybe a skate park would get put in Astoria, but we didn't know like how nice it was going to be or like where. And then sort of like when we were getting like to the point where we were going to start, you know, pulling the trigger on the ideas, we found out that it was really like for real. They were building a skate park, and we were like, all right, now we know we have to do this because, you know, maybe someone else will, or maybe like the timing will be perfect.
It was just everything was falling into place so well for us at that point. And like looking back on it, it was such a blessing. Like, you know, to have a park like that in a beautiful place under the bridge, right there on the water, close to the store and where we live, and it's just like our home base, like the whole, you know,
it really
community.
kicked everything into gear for us. Like when we found out like that it was really being built and when it was projected to be ready, and then like coincidentally it all happened like on the same week. I think we opened our store and the park was open, and like a lot of, you know,
so you just got like a massive support.
But like looking back on it, it's just, it really is a blessing because like it's just, that's like our home base. That's all our homies from the area. We all just kind of, when the weather's nice in the summer, in the spring, whatever, in the fall, everyone just knows to go kick it, post up. It's like a place where we can all be and hang out, and like, you know, outside of the store. Other than that, you know, it's great to have a place like that, you know,
just to chill,
just to chill and link, and like it really feels like a home, like, you know,
and
the whole neighborhood, everybody's friends with everybody, you know.
That's that, man. That's that. So I mean, and that's like a general thing, because like you guys do like a lot of like community events, I guess. Like you had the gallery 2 weeks ago, you know, like we were talking about on the way here. You know, you're supporting the homie who's like a rapper, Demo, and just like shit like that. You have young Hamza Days, the photographer, helping him out a little bit, doing like the lookbook shoots and that. So I do want to kind of expand on that. Like, how did you guys like really get into that, or was that something that you originally always like wanted to do? Like,
I mean, having an outlet, having a store and a brand is just what comes with that territory, is being able to work with talented, other like-minded, creative individuals. And so it's just great to have the platform, to have a brand and have a store to kind of put, you know, that links everything together, whether it's photos with Hamza or shows with Dot or art shows with this person, or, you know what I mean? Like, it worked out well, man. We have a lot of talented friends, and like it's always something we're going to be doing, always working and networking and doing things with our homies.
Right. So especially at that time in the story, like I felt like and we briefly touched on this on the way here as well. Like that was a time when Astoria was like really coming up in terms of like development and stuff like that. So I mean, no offense, of course, but like as kind of like two white guys, like do you guys feel like you're a part of the gentrification of the community, or is that like something that you just haven't like really paid attention to because like you're actually like helping and doing something?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, like when I first moved there, it was like just beginning to become gentrified. But like Astoria is a funny place, man, because like it's a part of Queens that's really like it started out really European. Like it was like predominantly like Greek and Italian families that
so like
lived there.
Like Italian, like the immigrants and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. And like it just like I guess because of its location, people started slowly making their way out there because it's like a quick commute into Midtown. And then over time, people in the neighborhood saw what happened in neighborhoods like Williamsburg, like other parts of Brooklyn, and they just realized that like a lot of cool businesses started opening up, and like we were kind of like right before that. So like now it's been cool to see like everything change, like since 2010, like there's just so many. It's just become a more like trendy, younger place. Like it's more people like us. Like we were just the first ones there, kind of.
So like right now, it's like you see like a lot of like I guess similar looking faces in terms of like, the demographic at least.
Yeah, and it was always kind of like that. It was just because like being a neighborhood, it was like a family. Like it was a lot of young kids, kids in high school, parents, like so.
So even back then, like what was like the landscape of the neighborhood? Like I'm not like super familiar with that area, so.
I mean, most of the places you see in Astoria are like, like 2-story, like family-style homes, and like what you've seen over the past few years is like more like kind of luxury, nicer, like a little bit higher buildings going up, like because a lot of people are moving there now, but there's just not that many places
to like come into.
Exactly, so they're trying to expand on it, and it's working. I definitely have noticed like a lot more people on the train for sure.
Yeah.
In general, Queens is on the come up right now. Like, it was crazy to think like 5.5 years ago when we opened our store that like there was an opportunity for us to even do that. Like Brooklyn and Manhattan, there was there was all these skate shops here and there, and it was like, wait, there really is no skate shop in all of Queens that's doing something right now. Like that's kind of something crazy.
Yeah, all the kids always have to come to the city.
And you see all these younger people moving into Astoria and whatever, and these just nicer bars and restaurants and like just a lot of cool things going on in Queens now. It's kind of crazy that it hasn't been that way for longer.
I mean, it has to be cool too to see, because now even though you have the shop there, you don't have to like always go to like Brooklyn or like bumfuck in the Bronx or whatever just to like hang out with a friend. You could just like do it down the block.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Sure. So you guys moved in 2014. Was there wasn't like a big move? It was like down the block, right? So like what was the reason for that? You just wanted like more space?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was like there were a couple things that played into it. I mean, first and foremost, our lease was up. So we kind of had a situation where we had to evaluate, like right around that time was when the brand was kind of starting to take off for us. We were devoting a lot more time to it, investing a lot more into it. And so when our lease was up and we found out like our rent was going to be higher, we kind of had to sit down and just see what made the most sense, from a business standpoint. Mm-hmm. And, we were thinking about maybe not having a store and just doing the brand at that point, like even though we didn't want to, like it was just we were juggling a lot and it was new to us, and at the end of the day we sat down and decided, like it's not time to give up the store. Like we built this community out here, we have it, like it does well, we just have to like relocate it to a place that makes more sense. And we kind of used that opportunity to just like redesign it, rebrand it, like market it more towards how we want it to sit with our brand for like people that kind of see it from other parts of the world.
So would there be a point where you just say like we're kind of done with the skate shop, or we're not trying to pursue this anymore and just stick to believe the brand, or you definitely want to like keep the shop going?
It makes things like the original goal for us was like we wanted a clothing brand. We realized that opening up a store would be the best way to like get our feet wet and separate our brand when we wanted to do it from everybody else's. We love working with all the brands we work with, and we love having a store. But that being said, it does take away a lot of time and energy away from the brand. And, you know, if we were able to, I guess the goal would be to have the store running really more on its own and having a manage, like a, and having like maybe another like full-time staff in store really managing it so that we can spend most all our time on the brand.
Because as it is now, you kind of spend time in the store, like doing it.
We've been working a bit more in the store ourselves.
Yeah, whether it's in the store or outside the store, placing orders or like, you know, staying on top of everything is a lot. You know, stores are open 7 days a week. Yeah. You got to manage employees.
Running a store, sneaker store, and any store from retail is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Having a clothing brand is a full-time job. So, you know, it's only a matter of time until we figure out the best way to, you know, be able to handle both things.
Especially with like the I guess the way trends go, like too, like I guess Nike SB, that kind of coming on the downfall, like certain like Adidas running sneakers, but you know you guys don't carry that. So like how like kind of trends shaped like the landscape of your business?
Yeah, trends are trends, man. We gotta do our best to stay on top of them, but everything's up and down all the time, you know. And we're lucky, like, because we carry enough brands, like especially with sneakers, where like if it's not Nike this year, it's Vans, and like everything comes back around. So it's just being like how we are, like into the market and like hands on, like we're sort of able to stay on top of it pretty well.
So where do you guys see yourself in like the mold of like the market? I guess New York City wise, at least, you know, there's like super prominent brands, Only, Bronze 56K, Supreme, obviously. Like, do you guys see yourself stacking up with them, or is that like you just are just kind of in your own lane doing your own thing?
I mean, it's not about like trying to stack up or whatever to these other brands that are doing shit. Yeah. We do our own thing. We work our asses off every day on running the store and pushing our brand. And like honestly, I think they all do a good job, all the brands you mentioned, and it's nice to like, you know, be involved with the whole thing.
The network.
Be involved with just this industry and to be, you know, up here doing what we love to do just like they're doing.
So going forward, like what's like the goal, I guess, of the clothing line? Like do you guys want to continue making like skate ready pieces, I guess would be like the aesthetic, or do you guys see yourself coming in like to a more like lifestyle direction, I guess?
The goal is cut and sew.
Cut and sew. Well, you achieved that sort of with the like even this past season you had the ocean hoodie, like with the logo on there. I'm pretty sure that was like a cut and sew piece, and like the
we've been slowly but surely getting into it.
We want to get into more like technical design, like cut and sew, like jackets and like kind of really building
like parkas and things.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you kind of stuck to like not, I guess the mold of like more hoodies and like windbreakers, shit like that.
Yeah, I mean everything takes time, you know. We're just building, and the next step for our brand is really getting into creating more custom pieces that we'd like to be able to make. So
now has like I guess I'm trying to figure out a cool way to say this, but exporting to like other shops like across the world kind of limited that instead of like keeping it in house. Like would you rather like have gone back in time, say like 4 years ago or whatever, and like just kept it in house and like made it more of like a you can only get this like in New York? And we could still do that right now if we wanted to. Yeah, you know, we could still. But at the same time, wholesaling to stores, we're for the most part. The other thing is we're like super selective with who we work with and what stores we work with. So we're not in a rush to like jump into selling to a lot of stores. Like we're really just trying to grow naturally, and it's been working out really well. But you know, wholesaling to other stores is great because it allows us to make more pieces for ourselves. It pays for, you know, a lot of the stock that we get for ourselves. So, yeah. It's definitely interesting just because like, I feel like most brands nowadays, at least, like they kind of see like the exclusivity thing, like, and how they feel like that's like the key. Like, okay, I'm only gonna make 10 of these pieces, like 5 of these pieces, and you gotta give me like your kidney and like your firstborn for this piece or something like that. So it's like the kind of like the opposite. I feel like that's mad interesting that like you're not really like worried about like the image that kind of presents, because I feel like a lot of brands these days are kind of caught up in like just like making like a good image rather than just making like a really dope quality product. We're always focused on our image too. I mean, you know, that's
it's a business, you know, like everything. It's like a chess game. Like you got to figure out you know, it's cool to make limited quantities, but you got to figure out how many you need to sell to make it work too, you know. So it's like, you figure it out. Like, our way of figuring out is just being super selective with who we work with. We would never sell an item to like a store that we didn't think fit our brand image and make it better.
Like you said earlier.
Yeah.
And like everything we make is already in super limited quantities. Like, we make stuff for stores that we work with, and like we make stuff for ourselves. It's on such a small scale, so like, you know,
yeah,
it really is
in comparison to like the mainstream. Yeah, for sure.
It's really limited. I mean,
so as we were talking about earlier, we kind of talked about collabs, but you've had like a long-standing tie with like Only. You even have like the Only Duffer right there. So do you kind of can expand on that a little bit? Like, what's like your relationship with them?
Those are the homies. Like, we have always been carrying their products since we opened our store.
Yeah.
And I not recently, I got a job with them. And so I was working for them, doing sales and shit, selling their brand for a long time, like 3.5 years.
Right.
So, you know, those are
my bad to cut you off, but this was like in the midst of like doing the Belief.
Yeah, this was like a year after we opened our store.
Yeah, when we opened the store, we were all kind of had like side jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of just what you do when you start a business for the first year or whatever.
Just because you're not really seeing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's all going back. That's cool, man. So you wouldn't like do I'm kind of pushing the collab question, but you wouldn't like do something like that.
If it makes sense, like in the future, it'd be a fun thing to do. You know, I wouldn't say like we're not gonna do it. I wouldn't say we're definitely gonna do it, but I'm sure like at some point, if the opportunity presents itself, you know, it'd be a fun project for sure.
Right. So a little bit earlier, we were kind of talking about like how hype and this like the exclusivity thing affected like, or just like the image like skate culture had like on streetwear. So with like and to give more like I guess mainstream stuff like Supreme, Palace, Bianca Chandon to an extent, Quarter Snacks is pretty big now too. Like, what do you feel about like that being like the hype now? Like skate stuff is like cool to like rock and shit like that. Like,
I think they all make dope shit. I think those are all companies that you just named that are pretty selective with people that they work with. Yeah. Supreme, Palace, Bianca Chandon, Quarter Snacks. These are people that don't sell to even some of your best stores in the industry.
Yeah.
So the hype behind it, I'm not in love with that. I don't love the idea of standing in line outside of Supreme or, you know, the same for Palace stuff. But I think they're doing things right, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that's cool that they've been able to build that for themselves.
Right.
It's just solid. It's definitely solid brands.
Any words on that, Jimmy?
Yeah, I agree with it, man. I mean, like for us, like we really, like Phil said before, like we kind of just try to stay in our own lane. Like a lot of that stuff to us is like a distraction in a way. Like, you know, we don't focus on it that much. I mean, we know what's going on or whatever, but like it doesn't really affect how we do things, you know?
Right. So your motto is ever upward, which is based on New York State's Excelsior. Was there ever a point where you felt like that like really stuck with you? Like, was there like a real big struggle that you guys kind of went through within the shop, like in terms of like, I guess maybe moving was like a big thing, or like what was the aspect of pushing positivity? Was like, oh shit, like this really means something.
These are good questions, man. I like that. I like how you're asking all these good questions. No, it's really just like an overall mentality that we have in life, and especially going into a business that we wanted to start. We wanted to have like some type of a positive message or you know, portrayal to, you know, to be a part of it. And it really is just like a mentality, you know, for us to grow, better ourselves, better our products, and surround ourselves with like-minded people. So
right.
Ever upward is there's a lot to that, and with belief as well, you know.
So is there any vision for like I guess where you want the brand, saying like 5 years, 10 years, whatever? Like, where do you guys see yourself like in the distant future, or not so distant future?
Yeah, there's always a vision, you know, like we set goals, and I think the goal right now is just to continue to grow our fan base, to, you know, keep reaching the right people that we can share our brand with, that get it and are interested in it and buy into it, and then by doing that just be able to expand like our collections and be able to just continue to put more stuff out.
Yeah. It's like
for me, like, I mean, I totally agree with that, but in terms of like, I think it starts with us first. So a goal for us, for me right now, would be like to continue being able to produce like nice products that, you know, we love, we're interested in, and then I think kind of in turn it'll fall into place and more people will, you know, get onto it, you know.
So this is probably loaded, but like, what's like the favorite piece you made so far?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
I don't know, man. Like, it changes. Like, every piece has meaning to us, obviously, you know? And, like, it's, you know...
I don't know. I'm just hyped for some of the products we're going to be making this summer that's coming in. Some of the product that we're doing for fall, winter.
Is that, like, kind of going to, like, your design process in terms of, like, you just make stuff that has meaning to you? You just don't kind of, like, pick random shit. I'm like, all right, we're going to slap a Belief logo on this one. Like,
yeah, I mean, we probably should. We're trying to catch up to, like, a more seasonal delivery schedule. We probably should be slapping shit on shit, but...
No, we put a lot of thought, execution into every single product. So, like, each product to us tells a story, you know? So it's hard to pick a favorite.
So what is the, so you got the Fresh Belief hat on right now. What's the story that particular one tells?
It's like, there's a couple things. I mean, this is a graphic we've used before. Like, it kind of reminds us of, like, upstate, like, where we're from originally type of thing. You know, with, like, the outdoors, you kind of feel. We incorporate that a lot into our design. And then I don't know, this was, like, a needle point embroidery, which was something that, like, we kind of were into, like, separate from kind of clothing, just in, like, design, like, decor kind of standpoint, that we just incorporated into a piece, you know?
Right. And so you always try to, like, mix it up in terms of, like, how you, like, produce shit. Like, you just mentioned the needle point. Like, is there, like, I guess a specific process? Like, you did, like, too much screen printing one season, so, like, now you'll go to more like I don't know, like some other kind of materials.
We definitely always try to keep an even keel when we're designing shit between screen prints, embroideries, or colors, it's placements, like balance, products. It's just everything's got to balance itself out.
Right. All right. So I guess we'll get to some user questions here. Paul Kersey wants to know from Instagram, who gets the most chicks in the DM?
Shout out Paul Kersey. Damn. Damn.
That would have to be me.
Listen, Jimmy, I'll do that one to my man right here.
Nah. None of us get more chicks than Paul Kersey.
Nobody than Paul Kersey? He's a man whore?
He's a man whore.
Yeah. That's a good name. That's a good description for him, yeah.
So is there any, like I guess last couple questions here, is there any, like, brand that you would like to carry in store that you don't carry right now?
We'd like to get our Palace boards back. We used to sling Palace skateboards for
what happened? They
2 or 3 years, man, and then they just deaded it from the distributor that they were using, and they never really followed up with the stores that had been doing good business with them, which I think, look, I understand if you want to sell direct, but it's not a good, like, kind of business move when you're making money with people and you just don't care to, like, follow up, you know what I mean?
So they were just like D-block, like, the whole thing.
They just, like, I don't know what they think or are thinking, but, you know, apparently they could care less about, like, the business they've done with people in the
establishing
past,
that relationship,
which is a little weird. It's like, you know, I get, like, if you want to put a hold on things and really tighten up, but at the same time, like, you know, business is business. You've been making money with people, like, show some respect.
Yeah.
Reach out, let them know, like, look, we're gonna do this direct for a little bit, you know, whatever it is. Palace would have been nice, but because that always sold well. Let me think. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get Carhartt Whip in store. I'd like to maybe bring a little Raised by Wolves in. I always like Raised by Wolves.
Yeah, they're dope. They're doing their thing. Shouts out.
A6 would have been nice. They tried to play us.
They tried to play you?
I don't like that.
Oh, man. Dare I ask what happened?
What? No, I'm just kidding. No, they tried to make us place a $20,000 initial order.
Oh.
And I got homies that are close by that had no minimum on their initial order.
Yeah.
So they're just, like, they got sales reps that are trying to make some money on the orders.
Is that why you kind of moved to like Saucony and like?
Yeah, we brought in Saucony and.
There's a couple like other branches of like the footwear that we already carry that we would like to kind of get our hand into, like being like a skate shop account. We can't always get like a lot of runners from Nike or Adidas that we'd like to get our hands on, but
New Balance.
Yeah.
So,
but we got Converse coming in again, and so we have a good amount of shoes that'll be coming in next week. So slowly but surely, we're just building, our brands back.
Word. So, I guess last two questions here that I have for you guys. What's next? Like, what's the next step, I guess, if any? Like, where do you guys, as a brand, as a shop, I guess, we'll do each, like, what do you guys see for yourself next as a shop? We'll do that first.
I think just putting money into product and stocking the store up.
Yeah, just keeping it going, and then, we always wanted to look into doing maybe like a pop-up shop somewhere, trying to get...
Oh, like, so somewhere outside of New York, like...
Yeah, because we don't have any plans to open a new shop, like another location.
Yeah.
But, we have a formula, we have all the accounts, it'd be cool. Mostly for the brand, but, like, obviously we'd bring the aesthetic with us if we ever got around to doing it.
We're doing one in Japan, actually, at the store called Wisdom this fall.
Oh, shit, that's
which will be really nice.
Where in Japan is that?
It's a good question.
They have a couple of locations. I think the one, was it near Tokyo?
I don't remember. I think it's one of them. One of them is in Tokyo, and the other one is in I think it's called Hori or something. But they're like an awesome, like really well known, like high end, nice store in Japan. So we're hyped to be working with them. Like, mainly for us, it's about like we can never get our hands on enough Belief products. So our main goal is to continue
for yourselves,
for ourselves. Like continue.
Oh, because it just sells out so much.
Well, yeah,
faster.
And like it's few and far between at this point. Our goal is to continue bringing in more product as much as we can, launching online and in store, and just continuing to be producing our own stuff.
Right. Is the online aspect of things like a big part of your sales? Like, do you see like a lot of love online?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of potential with that. So we got a few things coming up. We were discussing starting more of a push for a board brand, like having collections that we drop, Belief boards every season, to be kind of wholesaling separately to shops around the world. So we're looking into the whole business of like, the skateboard distribution on the side of the clothing. Yeah. And the
your early decks were mad tight. Like I remember I seen the very first one with like all like the mantra and all the other stuff. Like and you released it. That shit was so cool, man.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man.
We didn't go to school for this shit, but we love it. So we just we continue to learn.
So you guys were like designers already, and then
what's that?
You guys were like already designers, and then
nah, we weren't. We just always had an eye for it, always had a love for it, and put it all together.
Our other partner Rafi took like one graphic design course in college as an elective, and that's like,
the extent of it.
Yeah. Took one graphic design course.
But ever upward, we're just always building, always gonna keep it going.
Word up. So as a brand, I guess what's like the next step?
Just like you said, man, just to keep putting that like steady product, like more frequently.
Putting stuff on the web store, releasing stuff on the web store way more often.
Yeah.
Just keep making fresh products. That's all we can hope for and do.
So when's the next collection? When can we look forward to some new heat dropping?
Good question. This June, so probably 4 weeks from now, we have our summer line dropping.
4 weeks from now? Okay, cool. That's more of the same, or are we expecting something a little different? Like, what's the flavor of the summer season 2016? Chipotle?
It'll just be some good stuff, some jackets.
Yeah, similar like silhouettes to what we've been putting out, just new takes on it, like new graphics.
Yeah. Word. Alright guys, so where can we find you on the interwebs? Social media, website, Tinder, Kick, whatever.
The website's beliefnyc.com. The Instagram's @beliefnyc.
Word.
And those are our biggest two platforms, I think.
Yeah, we had a Tinder profile for the shop, but they kicked us off that shit. So
could have got a lot of chicks with that one. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Could have beat out young Paul. All right, guys. So yeah, thank you for coming on today. Appreciate you giving us your time here at the studio. And that kind of wraps it up. So thank you for listening, everyone. And I will talk to you later.